Good evening. It's Friday. This is Over and Over and Over Again, and this is the Arsenal Women's Show. Now, it's been such a quiet week. I'm not really sure how we're going to even do a show. What have we got to talk about? I've been racking my brains for the last, pretty much all day, thinking about the show. What can we do? What are we going to talk about today? There's just nothing happening. So you guys in the chat are going to have to help me out here. You're going to have to maybe give us some suggestions about what we can talk about, because I really can't think of anything. But anyway, we've got the introduction to play, so we'll play that and maybe we can come up with one or two ideas, shall we? Let's see what we can do. And of course, joining us on this quiet week, it is the end of a quiet week, is of course Lord Andreas. How are you today?
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Not too bad at all. A quiet week, but maybe we can be a bit loud with our show.
Yes, maybe we need to find something to talk about, really, don't we? I mean, there's no point having a show and just sitting here in silence because nothing's happened. So we'll have to find some stuff to talk about, won't we? Well, there's been some games. That's one thing we can talk about, I suppose. And of course, last weekend there was a rather big game at the Emirates, which of course Andreas was at. It didn't quite end in the way that we wanted. So, of course, Chelsea was the game, as we know, the champions. And I've got to be honest, I didn't think, apart from the first 10 minutes, we didn't actually play that bad. We were probably the better team for most of the game. But unfortunately, against a team like Chelsea, when you find yourself 2-0 down so early in the game, you've given yourself a mountain to climb. And there's not many teams in the world that would have been able to recover that scoreline and get something from the game. But we came close. We got the goal back. Brilliant goal from Caitlin Ford. At a good time just before half time, and then in the second half we had some chances. Obviously the late one when Astina hit the crossbar could so easily have been a different result, and would that have made it a different week with what has happened since? But we'll focus on that in a minute. I do want to obviously talk about the game first, because obviously there was a lot of doom and gloom around after the Bayern Munich game. There was a lot of doom and gloom around because we lost the game. But actually, Andreas, I didn't think we played that badly, considering the situation we found ourselves in after 10 minutes.
Yeah, but what did we do in the first, I would say, first 20 minutes? We slept.
Well, yeah, we were struggling, yeah.
We weren't ready for this match. And against an opponent like Chelsea, you have to be ready, not only from the first minute, but from the first second of a match. And what were we doing? I mean, over the 90 minutes, Chelsea had not had a good game. It was, to say it politely, it was average what they were playing, but they took away the 3 points just because of the first 20 minutes. I mean, the first goal, the first corner, and then once again bad defending from us against the corner. But this goal from Mayra Ramirez, it was 1 in a million. She tell her to do this again and again in training. It won't happen. She won't score from this position with the overhead ball. But in this very situation, she scored. And it's when you have a bad run, as we have it now, then such things happen for the opponent, but not for us. We hit the crossbar and the ball falls on the pitch 10 centimeters before the line. If you have a run like Chelsea, then this ball from the crossbar, what Stina hit, falls 5 centimeters behind the line. We have a bad run, we have bad luck, and this goal from Ramirez, as I said, if you tell her do it again, she won't be able to do this again. And the second goal, I don't know what we were defending. If you rewatch it, you see 4 or 5 Arsenal players being inside the box. And nobody is looking for who was it? Sandy Baltimore. Yeah. I mean, if Emily Fox comes inside to to defend inside the box, then she must give a signal and say, look at the corner of the box. Beth Mead must see that there's nobody there, and she must go to the left. Baltimore was, she was coming on her own, coming alone. I don't think that she scores so many easy goals in training. It was the easiest one she could do. Nobody was there, and the header, it was, I think everybody at Chelsea, everybody must have, oh, was this really a goal, or did you overhear a whistle from the referee? Arsenal was playing. Oh, okay. But then the reaction from the team was good. I mean, they made a huddle. They regrouped or concentrated on the situation, how it is, and they came back. And that's the positive sign of this match. I mean, when it was 2-0 for Chelsea, I was sitting in the stands and thought, oh God, will we get another 5 like in Munich, or even more? 7 like Crystal Palace conceded against Chelsea or what, but we came back, and from minute to minute we grew better into the match, and we were the better team. And the goal from Caitlin Ford was just fantastic. I mean, it was not the first time that she came through, and Lucy Bronze, she had no idea how to defend Caitlin. Caitlin always tried again and again, one versus one. And then I think in this situation, around the 40th minute or 42nd minute, Caitlin was tired of giving a pass or a cross, as nobody was there, or the other girls didn't make anything from her effort. And then she thought, okay, let's try alone. It was the right decision. And with this goal going to halftime with this momentum, I thought maybe we can at least get the equalizer. But as I said, if you have a bad run and all the bad luck that is possible, then you lose such a game. I mean, Millie Bright was fantastic. She headed everything out of the box. Anna Hampton was good. And they defended for life, the Chelsea players. But they didn't do anything else than defend. Okay, there was one counter attack when Daphne reacted very good, and but all in all, it was not the worst performance from us. But in the end, we were standing there with 0 points, and Chelsea was celebrating. It was really it was a disappointing afternoon at the Emirates.
It was, and the weird thing was, we've probably played worse against Chelsea and beaten them at the Emirates before, and yet I thought the first 10 minutes was terrible. The first 20 minutes we were recovering from the first 10 minutes, I suppose, and trying to recover our composure. But after that, it was only one team in it, and I agree. When we scored before half time, I thought that's the turning point in this game. That, like the Bayern Munich game the previous midweek when they scored just before half time, and that turned that game around. I felt that the same thing was going to happen in this game. And at half time, I expected us to get something from that game, whether it was a draw or a win. I really expected that we would. And unfortunately, as you said, luck's not on your side at the minute. It wasn't at that point, and nothing quite went our way. The ball didn't quite fall for us in the box. Chelsea defended really, really well. You have to give them credit for that. You're right. Really bright. Again, as she often is, heads everything away. I even thought Kadisha Buchanan, who's normally a liability, I think she's got a mistake in it. I thought even she had a decent game, actually, for once. I don't know whether the new coach has helped her a little bit. I don't know, but she looked a lot more solid. And yes, we couldn't get the goal that I felt we deserved in the second half. And it was such a shame because, we played, I think we played worse than that this season and won game. So, Chelsea are a great side, we know that, but it was very, very frustrating, shall we say. Greg's with us in the chat. He says, "Evening, everyone. What better way to start the weekend talking about the best women's team in the world?" That is the best way, isn't it? And you can't be with us on the show tonight, but she's in the chat. So good to see you, Ange. Hope you're well. Greg says, "We can always talk about what we're getting for Christmas." Yeah, that's a good idea, actually, seeing as it's been such a quiet week. Maybe that's what maybe we'll talk about after this game. We'll talk about what we get for Christmas. Yeah, that's a good idea, that, Greg. Actually, I like that. Emerson's with us as well. How you doing, Emerson? Good to see you, my friend. Hope you're well. And says, "Yeah, sorry, not being on air, work every day." Yeah, no, that's fine. No problem at all. We'll see you next week, I'm sure. Greg said, "I think that fluke goal stunned them a bit." Yeah, no, it did. Coming so early as well. When you've just got the performance that we did in Bayern Munich, to then concede a goal like that in the first 5 minutes was always going to have make a difficult situation against a team like Chelsea. And unfortunately, we needed to be calm and for the next 10, 15 minutes and keep it at 1-0 and grow into it. But of course, we conceded that daft second goal. And it was always an uphill battle after that. Colin says, we recovered well last season from 1-1 against Chelsea to achieve a great result. When I believe Leslie scored a penalty in no play, I'm sure confidence will mean results. Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think confidence makes a big difference. And you're right. Yeah, Chelsea got it back to 1-1 last year, didn't they? And we went up the other end and got the goals and beat them quite convincingly. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is, I suppose. And I think that the game came at the wrong time. I think if we play Chelsea in maybe 3 or 4 weeks' time, we may well see a better result, a different result. But we played them when we did, and unfortunately, it was a bad moment for us, and we got punished in the most sort of brutal way, really, didn't we, in that game? And we've ended up with what's turned out to be quite a significant defeat in the end, as we will obviously come on to because of what happened in the aftermath of that game. And we have got, of course, he's always late, but he's always with us. It is, of course, Amar. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, guys. How are you? All right?
Yeah. We're not bad at all. We're not bad at all. Obviously, we were talking about the Chelsea game, which didn't quite end up going our way. I mean, what did you make of the performance? Because we didn't play badly, did we? We deserved more from that game than we got, didn't we? Surely.
Yeah, but we definitely deserve something. But it just pains to think, why can't we start games on the front foot? Why do we always have to wait for opposition to land the first blow or two blows in this case, as Chelsea did, and then we start playing well? It reminds me of when Unai was in charge a bit that. They used to call us second half FC all the time, but yeah, I don't know. It just seems to become a regular pattern that we can't start games on the front foot and take it to the opposition. That we have to take time to. And at this level, you have to play at your best for 90 minutes, as we know regularly. You can't afford to start games slowly like we did. Yeah, and there's the same old problem as I was saying in the Bayern game. We can't defend crosses. I don't know why Beth. Okay, I don't know was she at fault, but. I think there was an element that there was a high foot from Ramirez in the build-up, but it's actually a very good finish if you think about it. But I don't know what they're doing with Bethany marking Myra Ramirez in the first place, and then the second goal, no one even bothers to put a challenge in on Lauren James, and it's just an easy ball floated to the back. But Emily Fox, or they said Emily Fox was supposed to be defending her, but again, I don't know who was marking her, and it's just an easy finish. And then at that time, I think, oh no, this could get ugly. It's only 15 minutes, but credit to the team, they found a way to bounce back and. Yeah, Katie's goal was magnificent. Had Lucy Bond on toast pretty much the whole game. And yeah, second half, we just had a clinical cutting edge. I think if maybe Stina had been born a bit earlier, unlucky to hit the bar as well, we could have got something out of that game. Yeah, and Daphne was good again, obviously. She made the saves to deny ABJ, as we know. And first one's clearly offside. How I think that goal would have stood, hadn't it? And there was no VAR call, which was miles offside in the build up to that. I did not see. I don't know how they didn't see that. I was just completely bizarre. But then she made the save to deny second time. But yeah, I mean, we paid the price for starting so slowly, and ultimately, yeah, you have to start games better on the front foot, and hopefully, whoever comes in and takes over, and whereas Renee for the time being, I don't think it'll be announced until probably after this national break. Yeah, we probably did deserve to get something out of that game. We were unlucky, but Chelsea just they had the know-how, and they were able to see out in the end, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. And as I said, it was probably the worst time for us to play Chelsea, really. I mean, we could have done with playing anybody else, really, that particular weekend. But, you can't help when the pictures come out, can't you? And that's kind of how it happened. Now, of course, after the game, well, not directly after the game, but in the aftermath of that defeat, of course, we got some maybe shock news. It was on Tuesday morning, wasn't it, when the news broke that suddenly we were without a manager.
Very good one.
Now, of course, so I did a show on Tuesday evening to talk about, so I take it all in, really, because it was a bit of a shock, the timing of it. I mean, we obviously spoke on the show about, the possibility that if we lost to Chelsea, that, maybe the international break would be the time the club would step in and make a change. And as it turned out, Jonas decided to make that decision on his own back. Well, that's what we're led to believe, and I tend to think that's probably the case. I don't actually think the club would have dismissed him at this point. I really don't. And you know, a lot's been said about Jonas losing the dressing room, or you know, that kind of thing, that maybe the players had lost faith in him. But when you look at the first half against Bayern Munich, that was a team that were together on board with what they were told to do. And in the way that the character we showed against Chelsea, having gone 2-0 down, again, that didn't really strike me as being a team that wasn't playing for the manager. They didn't down tools, as teams often do when that happens. We've seen it so many times. Players just give up. And we didn't give up in that Chelsea game. And we could easily have done so at 2-0 down. No one would have been, as Andrea said before, no one would have been surprised if Chelsea had gone on a 1-4, 5-0 from that position. But they didn't, because we worked and pulled it round. And I think that was a sign that he hadn't lost the dressing room. I think, looking back on it now, I've had a few days to digest it all, I actually think that maybe he felt himself that he had taken that team as far as he could. And that was why he made the decision to step away, rather than losing the dressing room or not the players not being on board. I don't necessarily think that was the case. I think he felt himself maybe that I've done as much as I can. I can't take this team anymore. It's just not working for me. It's not happening. And he's been very unlucky. I think I mentioned that the other night. He's been so unlucky. And just with one or two different outcomes of a couple of games. If you think his first season, the last game of the season at half-time, we were top of the league, about to win the league at half-time. We was 45 minutes away. In the Champions League semi-final, we were seconds away from a penalty shootout at the Emirates. Right. Who knows how that turn? In 2 seasons, he could have won WSL and reached the Champions League final. Do you think we'd be sitting here now saying, "Where's Jonas gone?" No, of course we wouldn't. He'd be one of our most successful managers in recent years. And what could he have done differently to have changed the outcome of those 2 games? Nothing really. That wasn't because of mistakes he made or bad decisions. It was just literally small margins. And twice he's come on the wrong side of it. And then you've got the ACL injuries, losing some of our best players for a long, long time. And this season, Vicky Palova, who last season was one of our best players, and he's lost her before the season's even started. He's had no luck, Jonas. I feel so sorry for him, but ultimately he's probably done the right thing for himself and potentially for the team. We will find out over the next few weeks, I'm sure. I mean, Andreas, it's good. Obviously, I did speak about it the other night in length, but what did you make of it on Tuesday? And what do you think the reasons are behind his decision to make that move right now at this particular point?
First of all, I have to say all respect for Jonas for his decision. I was one of them who said he's lost the dressing room, and I think the team had the feeling that his tactics doesn't work anymore, or the system he wants to play, and they, for me it seemed as if they felt there were too many tactical bonds they have to follow. They are not allowed to shoot. They must pass and pass again. And you saw the argument from Katie with Jonas, or after the match from Beth with Jonas. This speaks to me that they were not convinced that everything the manager says before a match or how he reacts during a match is working. And sometimes it happens that even the most successful managers, they reach a point when they are not able to bring something to a team, or maybe, as you said, he reached the ceiling with his abilities and with his team. Of course, he won 2 League Cups for us, so and all the other nearly won trophies. But you also have to say it was going downwards the last 2 seasons, and maybe this was a point when Jonas realized for himself, I can't bring more to this team. I've done everything I can, and it's not working. And it's only my opinion that maybe he thought he loves this team. He wants to give everything to the team and the club, but it's not working. So it's the best decision for the club to retire, and for himself, of course, for himself too. To say I step back is better than to wait until the club says, "Oh, sorry, we have to sack you." I'm sure there was an agreement, financial agreement, and he will not go with nothing. But also there were rumors that there was a meeting on Monday between the board and Jonas, and I heard the rumor that they said to him, "If you retire, then we will accept." I don't know. I was not part of this meeting, but there are so many. Unfortunately. Yeah, but there are so many rumors, and I think it was the right decision from him. So for Arsenal, it means we haven't sacked the manager, and for Jonas, uh, he himself stepped back, and he was not sacked from a club because of yeah, being unsuccessful. Uh, all the noises around that with this spraying on the wall, and so I don't think that you should do this. It's
No.
yeah, it's still football. It's are still humans with feelings, and just imagine if when you come or walk through this bridge and see your name and that you have to go. This was not the best action from supporters, but
No.
this shows how much emotions were in the game right there. And once again, all respect for his decision. And I think at this point it was the right decision. The club would have reacted after the Western game to give an interim manager or a new manager the 2 weeks during the international break. And so he said from himself that he's going. So yeah, let's move on. And yeah, to Jonas, I would say all the best and good luck for his next job. Uh, I loved his press conferences during the 3.5 years, and yeah, I liked him as a person. But I think he reached the ceiling and was no longer reaching the team. So yeah, let's move on and hope for better times.
Well summed up. Well summed up.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, and I mean, obviously, I think we all wish him well. And I didn't like you said about the graffiti on the wall and a few other things and things that was said on social media and stuff like that. It sort of it was unproductive, really. And like you said, I mean, Jonas is a human being at the end of the day. He's given his best for this club. He's won us trophies. He's taken us to the brink of even more trophies that we were so unlucky not to win. And I think that's the thing we need to remember is that, managers will always come and go. That's the nature of football, isn't it? Managers don't stay very long. He's had a, he's done okay. Yes, he needed to do better. That's the thing, isn't it? We're Arsenal and we don't accept being third in the league too often, too many times and stuff like that, and not winning the major trophies. But yeah, I mean, it's my initial feeling was I felt quite sort of sad, really, and I felt really sorry for him. But ultimately, having a few days to reflect on it, I think Andreas is right. I think it probably was the right decision at the right time. And it does give the club a little bit of breathing space. We had 2 games this week, which on paper were winnable games, which we'll come on to. And we've got the international break, and it's a time for everybody to reset, really, isn't it? And look to the future as opposed to being dragged down by all the negativity that's gone on over the last few weeks and stuff like that. So yeah, and again, yeah, well done, Jonas, for making that decision. We don't know how much pressure was put on him to make the decision, I suppose, but he could have hung on, couldn't he? Got sacked and got a big, massive payoff because that's what pay off his contract like managed to do, and he didn't. So fair play to him for that. I mean, Emma, what did you make of it? I think I think we all understood that maybe the time was coming sooner rather than later. Obviously, it came a little bit sooner than maybe we expected.
Yeah, I mean, as you rightly say, I don't think the club were ever going to sack him. It was unfortunate, I think the pressure just told in the end, didn't it? There was a lot of discontent from the stands. So I suppose you could see where it was coming from. He wasn't able to get the best out of the squad, and Iggy was playing on the front foot. He really tried his best. You can't fault him for lack of trying. I think you just say, I think a lot of people have said that, no, not particularly you guys in particular, but social media can especially be toxic, and you can see it's had its effect, as you said, with the graffiti and with the mock P45. That's not the behavior you'd expect of football fans. Unfortunately, in today's world, because of the pressure that, being the most successful women's team in the country has puts on you, I just suppose, you felt a bit sorry for him. But you could see it was to do with the fan discontent. As you said, there was unacceptable behaviour, but they just didn't back him. I don't know. The players, I don't know. I don't think he would lost the dressing room. He doesn't strike me as a kind of player manager who wouldn't know how to get the best out of the players. Maybe something was said, or I don't know what, but clearly something had come to a head, and unfortunately, I don't know whether they weren't buying on with his ideas, but yeah, and, it's unfortunate, but yeah, we can thank him for at least, as you say, what he achieved. He still won us a couple of trophies, I guess. He got close to Chelsea. He had to deal with the ACL injuries. You said Vic fell over. And now, I don't know how true it is, but now they're saying Laura Wiengoiter might have suffered a meniscus injury, but we'll have to wait and see. So, yeah, I mean, he hasn't actually had much luck if you think how many key players have been unfair. It seems to be a curse that strikes his football club. And, he did give it his all. And I take back a lot of what I said. And, yeah, I mean, it was unfortunate the way it happened, but you could see that ultimately, I think it was more down to the influence of social media and possibly the fan discontent that ultimately was the reason why he decided to pack it in, I guess.
Yeah, I think the pressure in the end maybe just became too much, didn't it, to bear? And he's got a life to live. You know what I mean? And when it's getting the way it was, maybe he just realised that this is the right time to step away. And while the season is still alive, and the season is still alive, and it was still alive even after losing to Chelsea, I think. But yeah, I mean, it was a shock at the timing of it, really. I don't think any of us were expecting it on Tuesday morning to get the news coming through. Anyway, Greg says, look on the bright side, we've got a Dutch manager at the moment, and we know how good they are. Well, we certainly know how good one particular Dutch manager is, don't we? Who's given us some great moments. So, yeah, I suppose that is the bright side, isn't it? Ange says getting good vibe from Rena. Yeah, we are. Indeed, we are getting a good vibe from her. I don't know how long she's got in the job, but let's enjoy it while she's here, while she's got it. Greg says, give Jonas credit. He had the bottle to call it a day. It's a shame our other manager hasn't, or didn't have 2 or 3 years ago when he should have done the same. But anyway, that's gone now. Ange says, listening to Tim Stillman and the conversation was had on Monday, and he walked before being sacked. I mean, we don't know what the conversation was. Yes, he did speak to the club on Monday. It was officially announced on Tuesday after he'd spoken to the players on Tuesday morning training. So, yeah, we don't know what the nature of that conversation was, who instigated him to go. I'd like to believe he made that decision himself. The club have announced that. Yes, we don't know. Possibly it was a mutual decision. The club was saying, look, at the end of the day, it's not working. How do you feel? Do you know what I mean? And maybe then he made the decision. I don't know. But, yeah. Ultimately, he's made that decision to go. Eleni says there, Arsenal have not won a major trophy in 10 years. Chelsea have been dominating. That's why fans are tired of Jonas. Well, that's part of it, absolutely. The Chelsea, Arsenal will find it hard next year. As United, even.
Oh, she's back again. Only new. She's been on there before with Chelsea's boy. Yeah.
Herman says, hi, Richard, all of you from Toronto.
Hello,
again. Colin says there, would it not sometimes be better for the goalkeeper to distribute to the midfield or forwards rather than always play out from the back? It often leads to problems. It does. And we've said this constantly, not just in the women's game, in the men's game as well, probably for the last 10 years since it's become a thing. And maybe if we get this new coaching, maybe the new coach will rethink all that, and say, let's get the ball up the pitch. It doesn't matter if you lose the ball on the halfway line, you've got time to recover. You lose the ball on the edge of your own penalty area, and you're in trouble, as we saw the other night, which we'll come on to. But yeah, I agree totally with that. I don't want to see anybody play it out from the back because the risk and reward ratio isn't high enough for me. Yeah. And how many times do you get caught out in relation to how many times you end up breaking the press and scoring a goal? You concede more goals by doing it. So it's not like it pays off in the long run because I don't think it does. I don't know. I don't have all the stats on it. Maybe the stats back it up that if you do it 10 times in a game, you might concede a goal twice, but you might score a goal 3 times when it works. I don't know what the stats are, but I just don't like to see it. And you're right. Let's get the ball up the pitch. Lose it in the other team's half. Don't lose it at the end of your own penalty area. But that's just, maybe I'm just a bit old school. And says, before you say it, Rich, a no to Bulldog chewing. No, we're going to come on to that in a minute. We are going to come on to that in a minute. Royston says, did not know you would be on tonight. Leeds nil, Sheffield United nil, 40 minutes ago. Yeah, we don't care about championship rubbish, do we? You know what I mean? That's quite a good game, isn't it? Leeds, Sheffield United, a bit of a Yorkshire derby and stuff like that. Try that, be good. But yeah, I mean, Ange just touched on it there. We need a new permanent manager. And we need to make that decision, I think, quite quickly so that they can get settled in and before the season just drifts away. I mean, Andreas, who would be your choice for the new job as manager of Arsenal?
Yeah. on Saturday after the match, I saw Casey Stoney leaving the media center. I thought, oh, maybe she had talks, but now Tim Stillman said that they're not considering Casey at the moment. So don't know what this means. And just for fun, I said on Sunday, I want Emma Hayes just to see your face. or have Terry's reaction when Emma is our new manager. No, this won't happen too. She will stay in the US and coach the national team. But yeah, who could it be? I think as Tim said in the Ars blog, probably it will be someone we don't have on our sheets at the moment. I think at the moment the board will look to Scandinavia. The Scandinavian season will end in a few weeks, and it will be easy to get a successful manager from there. I have no names from there. Maybe from Rosencourt or Hecken. I don't know. We have a lot of Scandinavian players or players who were playing in Scandinavia. So maybe that might be something the board is considering, saying, let's continue with a successful Scandinavian manager. Who would be in the race from the WSL? I don't know. It's Carla Ward was a name that appeared a few times. Matt Beard, who is doing a good job at Liverpool. I don't know. But what I know is we need a permanent manager pretty soon. This interim solution is not good till the end of December or so. There are too many important matches, and if we want to save our season, I don't think we will compete for the title. But we can still have a comeback and be competitive for at least third place. There are 2 cup competitions coming in January, and the Champions League is not over, fortunately, since Wednesday, since we got our first points. But an interim solution, the word says it. It's interim for a few weeks, and I hope that we will use the international break to announce a permanent manager, whoever it will be. At the moment, my guess is we're looking to Scandinavia without any name that I can give.
I mean, it would make sense in the respect that their season's finishing. Yes, I kind of understand that point. And, obviously we've had a Scandinavian manager previously, of course, not just one. But, I mean, you mentioned Emma Hayes, right? And we were saying on Saturday, because she obviously, the TV kept going to show her in the crowd. She was actually sitting next to Vic Akers in the stand on the game against Chelsea. And we were saying, Terry as well. And I actually said it, and I actually genuinely mean this. If you want to be the best, you get the best. Emma Hayes is the best manager in women's football at this moment in time. And if we're a serious club want to win things, we go and try and get her. I'm not saying we can get her. She's in that contract with America. She seems happy over there. She just won the Olympics, whatever. But for me, you don't go for whoever you can get. Go for the best and then work your way down from there. If you can't get your first choice because they're tied in with a contract in the case of Emma Hayes, then you try and get the second best that you can. Don't just settle for some Scandinavian nobody that no one's ever heard of just because they're available. Let's go for the best. And I would have absolutely no problem at all if Emma Hayes was our manager, because I know for a fact she would get us to win big trophies, because that's what she does. And she knows how to do it. And she would, with this squad of players, you can't tell me with this squad of players, Emma Hayes can't win big things if she stays here with us and becomes manager. I'm not saying she'd take the job. I don't suppose she would. But my choice would be the best, and that is Emma Hayes. She's the best. And I don't like her. I don't like her at all, but the best manager and just get the best. In the same way, I don't like Pep Guardiola, but if Pep Guardiola wanted to come to Arsenal, if we needed a manager, you'd try and get the best you can get, and Pep's the best, to try and get him. And that's what you have to do. So I'd have no problem with Emma Hayes, absolutely not, because I know she'd be successful. That is all that matters to me. The club getting the best, being the best club we can be, and you have to have the best people in the right positions. And she is the best. I don't care what anyone says. She is the best manager in women's football. And I would break the bank to get her. If it was me, if I was Edu or if I was Claire Wheatley or whoever's making the decision, if it's the Cronkies, whoever it is, I would offer her whatever she needs. I'd say to her, Emma, what do you want to be our manager? What will it take? Maybe it'll be to build a big McDonald's outside her house. I don't know. Whatever it is, give her every thought and get her to come here, because she would be the difference maker for me. But I know it's not going to happen. But we'll see. LG's with us. He says, "Evening, guys. How are you doing? Good to see you." Herman says, "I was late to the game.
You coughed yourself.
Oh dear. I hope you're okay anyway." Greg says, "Why not leave Renee in charge? The team at training today looked relaxed and happy. She's got to be better than Stoney." No, I agree. She'd be better than Stoney, 100%. Ange mentions Matt Beard, obviously a name that, and obviously he knows the WSL. He's been successful. What could he do at our club with our resources and our squad? It's a possibility. I quite like Matt Beard, actually. I do quite like him, so he wouldn't be a bad choice, I suppose. LG says, Jens Schur, plays direct attacking counter-pressing football at Bayern. Yeah, maybe. Royston says,
Ian Wright.
No, I'm not.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Ian Wright.
We love Ian Wright, right? He's an Arsenal legend, and he does love the women's team. But he's a fan like we are. That's like saying, well, let's make Andreas manager because he loves the Arsenal. There's nothing against Andreas. He's not a football manager. Ian Wright is not a football manager. And what I want to see, people have mentioned Jack Wilshere, right? No, what I want is someone who understands women's football, has managed in women's football, because it's different. Managing a women's team is totally different to managing a men's team or a boys' team or an under-18s team, right? It's a totally different thing. And I want someone who knows what they're doing when it comes to women's football. A manager who's got experience of top-level women's football as a manager, really. Okay, Renee hasn't, but she has worked. She has been a head coach, and she knows the club. I would rather have somebody with a bit more experience. I've got nothing against Renee particularly so far, but Ian Wright, I'm sorry, no. LG says, no Scandinavian closes. Well, yeah, it would be maybe one after another, wouldn't necessarily be a good idea. And he says, Ian would be an amazing front man, but needs a good assistant. No, he wouldn't. He wouldn't be a good front man at all. He's not a manager. He is not a manager, is he? He's got no more qualification to be managing the Arsenal women's team than I have. Quite honestly, he hasn't, because he's not a manager. He's never been a manager. He's never managed anything in his life. He's a football player, a very good football player. We love him, and he's a fan of the women's team as we are. That's it. He's not a manager. I'm sorry. I don't want him involved at all. Just keep involved as you are in the stands, watching like we do. That's it. Don't become any more involved in that thing. Greg says, I don't want to have a Scandinavian manager. They aren't used to the pace of the WSL. Well, yeah, it seems that way. Katie says there, Royston, Ian Wright would be a great manager, but has he got any coaching base? Well, would he be a great manager? He's not a manager. He's never been a manager. We don't know, do we?
He's a very good pundit. Be a good pundit support team, as you say. Yeah.
Let Ian Wright go and be a manager of Crystal Palace women's team, because he did play for Crystal Palace as well, right? Let him go and be manager of them. See how he gets on. Learn the job, and in 3 or 4 years' time, when he's learned, then he could be a choice for Arsenal. Not now. We can't take a risk on someone. We took a risk with Mikel Arteta, who hadn't really had any experience as a manager. And look what's happened there. He survived somehow, but we can't afford to waste 4 years now. We've already wasted 3 or 4 years already since we last did anything major. So come on. No. Herman says, I think Renee might be a pretty good choice at this point to lead Arsenal, since apparently this year there aren't any trophies there. Of course there's trophies there for Arsenal. There's loads. Ange B says, I'm muted because I was whatever Hayes. I just want the best. I just want the best for our club. That's it. LG says we have Man United away after the international break.
Focus on that. Focus on West Ham first. West Ham first.
No, after the international break, he said.
Yeah.
After the international break, Man United is their first game after the international break. Top 3 chance will even be remote. Well, that's a big game. We've got to beat West Ham first, but that's a big game. Of course, it's always a big game, Man U. Katie says Ian Wright hasn't got any coaching badges, so wouldn't be allowed to be a manager. Well, he's never been a manager anyway, so I wouldn't want him. So no, let's not talk about Ian Wright. I'd rather have Emma Hayes than Ian Wright. Thank you very much. And says he does have coaching, but it doesn't matter. He's not been a manager. I don't want Ian Wright. We're not having Ian Wright. Okay, that's it. Emerson says have faith with Renee till the end of the season. Let's see. I've got nothing against Renee. She talks a lot of sense in the press conferences. We know how great a Dutch manager can be, as we said before. So let's maybe see. Greg says, stay as we are. There's not a manager available good enough for a big club. That's the issue, isn't it? That is the issue. Don't just get, I said before, don't just get anybody because they're available. Get the best you can get. And if it means waiting until the end of the season and keeping Rene, maybe that's what we might have to do. You're right. Royston says Ian could be a figurehead. He has been managing in place while Ian gets the coaching he needs. It further raises a no. Andreas should be a figurehead rather than Ian Wright. Come on. What's the figurehead doing anyway? Ian Wright talks about the women's team enough. That's great. He's doing a job that he needs to do. Let him get on with that job because he's good at it, right? He's a good singer. He had some songs in the charts back in the day, didn't he? You know, and he was a great footballer, right? And we love Ian Wright. He's a TV personality. He should have a TV show. He should be on this show, actually. Ian Wright, if you're watching, come and join us here. Do not become manager of the team. Come and join us. You'd be much better off suited to this than you would be doing that. Herman says the first game led by Rene showed that the Arsenal squad is full of talented players. Well, no, but we knew that anyway. It's been full of talented players before. It was. Johnny says Phil Neville is the best women's manager. Well, I don't know about that, but anyway, he's got experience of managing a women's team, so we'll give him that. I don't think he's the best. And says I'll back Rene. And the women are comfortable. Well, yeah, that's true as well. Royston says Ian Wright for Arsenal women's manager back. Well, I don't know. Let's not go down that route. And just agreeing with Johnny. Angie says no hate. But no, of course not. We don't have any hate for it. And he's just not a manager. There's nothing wrong with saying that. He knows himself he's not a manager. Greg says Andreas is halfway there. He's in with a dinosaur. Exactly. Yeah. Now, if you watch the vlog that he did from the Valerenga game, which we'll talk about a bit in a minute. There was a guest appearance from Gunnosaurus.
Oh, yeah, there was. Yeah, I saw the video.
It's the highlight of the season for me by a country mile. Gunnosaurus getting involved in the video, just fantastic. Actually, Gunnosaurus, if you're watching the show, come on. We want to have you on. The show is brilliant, fantastic. But that was amazing, wasn't it? So for Gunnosaurus to get involved was just brilliant. That was
anything he can't do. He's man of many talents. Is Andrew.
It was brilliant. It was fantastic. That was. You know,
it wasn't him. It wasn't you in the dinosaur costume, was it?
I wish it had been because he was brilliant, wasn't he? LG says you won 4-1, but because he defended 2-2 shows how much work needs. Yeah, we'll come on to the Valerenga game in a minute, but yeah, you're right. We'll talk about that very shortly. I mean, Emma, who would be your choice? Obviously, Emma Hayes, of course. Yeah. Who else would it be? But apart from Emma Hayes, who would be your choice?
I mean, as much as I'd love Emma Hayes, I mean, I don't want to be a party pooper, but it just ain't happening. You know, she's managed Chelsea for so long, had that rivalry. It was just USA women. She's got a USA women's team. She's not going to back down. But I'd probably retire after her job. As much as we'd like to see it, I just, it would be brilliant if it happened. But I just don't. If she was assistant manager to Vic, let's not forget when in 2007. But yeah, I mean, it seems unlikely as much as we would like it to happen. I mean, I was just doing some research now, and there's been a few names bandied about. You say Phil Neville. Seemed like Ashley Cole and Jack Wilshere, but I don't know if they got the relevant.
That was a joke list. That was a joke list. Ashley Cole, what's he ever done to be a
manager?
No.
I'm joking. No. I was just googling it. I was random googling stuff. But Casey Stoney is the bookie's favorite. I didn't even know they jokingly said, 100-1, we've got Arteta down there. That's never going to happen, obviously, is it? So,
imagine. I'm not even joking, right? If they were to appoint Mikel Arteta to be manager of both teams, I think I would support somebody else, honestly. I couldn't have two teams with him. One's just about bearable.
Fair enough. That's fine. But on to the serious side, I think Casey is their favourite with most. Matt Beard is a great name as well. But how about I've seen one or two names bandied about. I mean, if you, what about somebody like Tony Gustafsson, for example? I know he stood down as the manager of the Australia women's team. He has experience with all the Matildas as well. So, I mean, maybe he could be considered for the job. Okay, maybe he underachieved a bit with Australia in his latter years, but he took them to a World Cup semi-final. He took them to came close to an Olympic medal in Tokyo. So, yeah, maybe why not somebody like him? But, I mean, it's going to be difficult to deal with managers from other clubs when they're contracted. I mean, I don't know who else has been. Yeah, I mean, Casey is the favourite, and I don't know who else there really is after that. I mean, we've seen a few names bandied about, but I don't know. It's just going to be extremely difficult. I know even I've seen Kelly Smith bandied about as well. She knows the club inside out as well. I mean, Casey was one of our best ever defenders, but it's going to be difficult. I really don't know. I mean, I would love to see Casey. She'll be my personal favourite, but this is going to be done. Hopefully, they'll find the person with the perfect fit and who's got plenty of managerial experience, knows the women's game. So I wouldn't mind something like Gustafsson. But again, it depends on how well how he can get the team to gel. So yeah, I mean, I really don't know, but it's difficult to have any names out, to know anyone else who's in the running for the job outside of them. So yeah, I think Casey would probably be my favourite again to get it, but it depends, doesn't it?
I think Casey Stoney would be a bad move. I really think that would be a bad move by the club. Yes, she's got links to Arsenal. We know that she has managed in the WSL. We know that, but I don't think that right now Casey Stoney is the right choice for her. I like the idea of Tony Gustafsson actually because I like the way Australia play football. The national team, they play a good style of football. I wouldn't be against him at all. I think he would be a good choice, actually, whether it's possible to get him. But we're Arsenal. We should be able to get anybody we want because we're one of the top. We are the top women's team in the whole of the world. And anybody should be grateful to even be offered the job. Roland says, let's get Jules build up. I don't like Spanish managers. We've got one Spanish manager. That's more than enough, isn't it? We don't need any more Spanish managers at the club. Herman says Arsenal first game showed that the players had more freedom and the result showed a big win. Well, it did, but we'll come on to that in a minute. I'm not quite so sure that was true. And says, oh, mate, there we go. Problem solved. Angie's the manager. Right, that's sorted. Right, Ange, there you go. Sign a contract. You are in. We didn't even need to think about it, really, did we? Why don't we just offer it to Angie in the first place? Would have solved a lot of time, wouldn't it? So Angie's the next up. There we go. It's just been announced here live for you tonight. The new Arsenal women's manager, Ange, is going to be taken over. We've done it. Johnny says, Cortez or Jonathan Geraldes.
Geraldes is not going to move over. I don't think that's going to.
Again, possible good choices, but realistically, I don't know. LG says Casey Stoney got sacked in the WSL because her team wasn't scoring enough goals. And what has been our issue under Jonas again? Well, yeah, exactly, yeah. And I didn't particularly like the way they played, Man United played under Casey Stoney either. LG says, didn't Viv do her coach? Well, she probably has done because she hasn't played much football in the last 2 years. So I expect she probably has. Imagine that would be quite ironic, wouldn't it? If Viv replaced Jonas as manager. Obviously, it's not going to happen, but it would be quite ironic. Greg says, we need an attacking-minded manager, not a defensive manager. Yeah, that's why Tony Gustafsson would be quite good because he's quite attacking-minded, isn't he? And says, got a photo of Casey at the Emirates. She gave me a dirty look. Is that because you're going to take her job? Is that why she gave you a dirty look? Maybe that's what it was. Maybe she knows what's happening. Johnny says, can we buy a Bombasta contract for Chelsea? Well, maybe we can. I don't know. She's won every game since she's been.
That's like saying, can we get Alexander Strauss?
Exactly. Ange says, play forward and defending when needed. So, well, yeah, that's all you need to do, Ange. Exactly. Just play the ball forward and just defend when you've got to defend. That's it. It's simple, isn't it? Football's simple. Let's not overcomplicate it. Let's defend and attack and all that, whatever they said in 3 lines. Chan says a clean sheet possible this weekend. Well, don't get too carried away. We did lose there last season. We will talk about the West Ham game, of course, as well. But yeah, so there's lots of potential options, isn't there? But the club have got to. I don't want them to rush into a decision. That we've got Renee now, and she seems to be okay in the job. I've got no problem with her, even if it means staying potentially till the end of the season. I don't know, but let's get the right person when we can get them. Don't just rush into a decision now because we need to get a manager. We've got Renee in charge. We don't need to panic. She looks like she knows what she's doing, which is a good start, isn't it? But yeah, I'm sure there'll be more news coming out over the next few weeks as things move on. But there's some names out there. We've mentioned a few tonight. Will it be one of those people we've named, or will it be someone completely that we've never heard of out of the blue? A bit like Jonas, appeared from nowhere, really, didn't he? And suddenly he was manager. So who knows? We're just going to have to wait. It's going to be an exciting kind of time, though, isn't it? Which is going to be good. James says, when will players ever take responsibility? Well, no, that's a good point. They have to take. And apparently they had a meeting, the players, and apparently from what Renee was saying, they have a bit of self-reflection, which they needed to do because they didn't do themselves any favours, and they certainly didn't do Jonas any favours in the last few games, certainly. LG says, I meant to say Casey was sacked in the NWSL because I was saying, oh yeah, well, she was sacked in the WSL as well, wasn't she, for Man United? Yeah, but all managers get sacked, I suppose. You can't hold that against a manager or you'd never get anybody, would you? Because they all get sacked at some stage, usually. But, of course, after all the trauma and the drama of Tuesday morning, we had a game in the Champions League, and it was a big game. It was an important game, and it turned out to be quite a good game. But of course, the game in the end, we got the result we needed, but none of that matters. The only thing that actually matters about Wednesday night's game was the vlog that Andreas has done for this channel, because it is incredible. you know, there's been some great vlogs that Andreas has done over the last few years, but that one is easily far and away the best one yet. It was amazing. And it is on the channel, so check it out if you haven't watched it already. You'll definitely enjoy it. There's some extra stuff in there that we wouldn't normally get to see, including, I say, a special guest appearance from Gunnosaurus. What more do you want? Come on, what more do you want? A guest appearance from Gunnosaurus on a video. Come on, brilliant. So have a look at that. Get yourself involved with that because it is absolutely fantastic. But of course, the game itself, I've seen a lot of stuff since Wednesday saying how brilliant it was, how much different it was. To me, watching that game, it was exactly the same as we played all season. You know, we didn't really create lots and lots of chances until towards the end. We wasn't particularly clinical enough. We made some daft mistakes at the back, which cost us a goal, and we could easily have thrown that away. It could have been 2-2 in the second half. They had a really big chance to level the score. And in the end, yes, our superior fitness probably was the key. The substitutions made a big difference, and we got the 2 goals at the end, which makes it look a good win. And it creates the goal difference situation reversed from last week against Bayern, which was great. And it was a good night all round. But let's not get carried away and think, oh, because Jonas is gone, suddenly they played better. No, they didn't play better. They played exactly the same. It was Jonas's team lineup. It was Jonas's tactics. It was a Jonas performance because it's his assistant that created it, and they wouldn't have had time to change anything. If we're going to see some changes under Renault, we won't see anything until Sunday. And even then, we might not see too much because she's only had 2 training sessions with him. What's she meant to do in 2 training sessions? You don't change it. You just try to tweak little bits and pieces. And there were maybe a few tweaks the other night. I thought Mariona looked a lot more free in her play than she had done in the previous few games. So that was a good positive. You know, it was the substitutions made a big impact, I thought. Could have been a bit earlier, getting Stina on a bit earlier when it was 2-1. But she made a big impact. Of course, set up the 3rd goal. Lovely assist from Stina. So it was a good night, but let's not get carried away that suddenly it's all roses again, because it isn't. It's a long process to get ourselves back on track. But we needed a win. I mean, Andreas, obviously you was there. It was a good atmosphere in the stadium and stuff, despite a small crowd. But what did you make of the performance? Because it was a bit bitty for me, a bit up and down, wasn't it? It wasn't the brilliant performance that we maybe were looking forward to.
Yes and no. Of course, we needed the win, and to expect big changes or something totally new. No, how could Renee change so many things after 2 training sessions? It was clear that the only thing she could work on was the mental part, and give the girls more freedom to choose by themselves what to do, or to get rid of some shackles, or too much tactics or system that doesn't work. And of course, when we spoke about the Chelsea game, that it was the worst start we could imagine with this Ramirez goal against Valerenga. We had the best possible start. The 2 minutes. What could you wish in this situation with so much pressure on the team, and then the first or second attack we made, and Emily scored her first goal. It was just the perfect start.
Yes.
I don't want to think what would have happened if we went 0-0 at halftime. So, but anyway, we had this perfect start, and of course, you could see the relief in everybody, and that they played with more freedom. And what I realized is we saw them shooting from outside the box, in the box. Things that seemed to be forbidden in the last weeks. We were not allowed to shoot. We had like in a NFL game, we had to carry the ball over the line to make a touchdown or something like that. A pass, and then carried over there. And this time they were shooting. Everybody tried something, and maybe this was not especially Renee's work, but it came from the team meeting. As Renee said, the team sat together without her, and they spoke about everything, and they realized the responsibility is on us, like Kim Little said in the press conference. She and all the other experienced players, they know they must lead the team now, and they have the responsibility. So this was to be seen. But anyway, we were 2-0 up then, And the goal we conceded was one from playing from the back. We lost the ball at the corner of our box, and Cody nearly got it back, but then it happened that the Norwegian player could shoot, and you lose the ball in your box or at 2 meters outside your own box, then there is always the danger that the opponent can score.
Yes.
Keep the ball away from your own box.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Bring the ball to the box. Position team. There is the goal we want to score, not our own goal. This was a terrible situation, and of course, in such a match with this mental pressure, as long as you don't score the third goal, it's always on. It's always difficult. And when the clock continued, I was looking. 15 minutes to go. If they
I was watching online as well. I was thinking the same
15
thing.
minutes to score the third. 10 minutes. If they score now, we have only got 10 minutes. And then, the relief was Mariano's goal. And the third goal for us brought the match to bed. And then it was quite clear that we will win. And then I wished for myself, it would be nice if Leslie could score. She needs it. She worked her socks off. She was running all the time, never giving up. All the difficult situations, we played the ball to her, and she can keep a ball and then make something out of it. She went on the wings. She was running everywhere, and she really, really deserved this goal. And I think for her confidence, and everybody says she's a confidence player, this was so important. I mean, she scored before when it was offside. So it was really great. And I think the subs were made a bit earlier than we were used to by Jonas, and great to give Katie Reed minutes.
Yes.
I think this is what I'm saying for weeks now. Give the young players minutes. Katie Reed, why not? She was so good in preseason. And then, of course, it was great to see Lina Hurtig back after more than 300 days. And you could see after the match how much it meant to her, and the reaction from the fans, how much this meant to her. Of course, it feels like a new signing. We have another winger now. And maybe, if Lina step by step returns to her best, then she will be an alternative for us. So it was good to bring her on. She had 2-3 good situations in these 5 minutes she was playing. And of course, the result in the end, fantastic. 4-1, we got 3 points. And all this blocking, this mental blocking we had, it was a big relief. And I think the team and everybody is now looking to the next game at West Ham with confidence. We can win there. We will win there. Just imagine if Valerenga scored the equalizer and the game ended 2-2. What should the board do before the next match? How can you mend such a situation? So let's just be happy that we scored 2 goals in the last 7-8 minutes, and it's a great result. Of course, it was a great night to be there, and Emirates under the lights, European football. I really it's for nearly 1.5 years, so it was great to be back in the media center, give the girls a welcome, and everybody who watches the vlog will see it was something special to be there.
It was brilliant. The vlog, I'll say the vlog is brilliant, so definitely check it out. But yeah, I mean, obviously it was great to win the game, and it was nice that we got those late goals, but it was tense up until then, wasn't it? I was the same, thinking, we could easily have dropped points in that game quite easily, because Valerenga actually wasn't that bad. They wasn't great, but they wasn't actually too bad. They defended quite well for long parts of the game. They were quite physical, and on the counter attack, they had 1 or 2 good moments, didn't they? And I'd say that in the second half, when their player ran through and cut inside Leah Williamson, and I thought that was going to be the equaliser, and luckily she fired over the bar. But yeah, it was important to get the job done, and it was important to try to recover some confidence, like you said. And it was nice that, as Rene pointed out as well, 4 different goal scorers is good, because it means we can score goals from different players and players in different positions. Obviously Emily popping up with a goal, her first goal, that was good. And obviously, Leslie getting a goal. It would have been nice for Stina to have got one. She hit the woodwork again, 2 games in a row. She's getting closer. It's going to come sooner or later for her, isn't it? I thought she had a great impact when she came on, actually. I thought she played really well. But let's just take the win. It puts us back in a strong position in the group ahead of the Juventus game next, which is a massive, massive game coming up. The next group game there, we need to try and get something there as well. So, it was important to win. We did win, but I didn't come away from that game thinking, oh my God, it's the dawning of a new era. How much of a change it was. It looked like the same sort of performance. This time we managed to get the goals at the end. Quite similar to the Hacken game. We got goals late on to make it look a more convincing victory than it was for the majority of the game. But we won, and we won well in the end, and we'll take it. Fantastic. I mean, Emma, what did you make of the performance in the game? Because there's still a lot of work to be done, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, I went back and watched highlights, so it's been funny. Yeah, no, don't even show it live on YouTube anymore. But if you've got an online account, you can watch it for free. So I was lucky enough that I just signed up and I was able to watch the last second half or so. But yeah, from what I was putting on the text, we were dominant to start with, but then we still have this tendency to just give away needless goals, as you said. Why are we trying to just hoof it out of the field, just clear that ball? No one, they don't even get a sniff of a goal. Why do we need to play out the back needlessly and cause unnecessary duress on ourselves? That's just. We've had a difficult week. Just keep things simple and just do the basics right. And just as you say, okay, you're only confident about playing out the back if you can beat the opposition's press. And regularly, how many times have we seen that? Okay, maybe not so much in the WSL, but teams playing out in the back in the Premier League, they've just been punished for that. But yeah, I mean, it was good to see, as you say, 4 different scorers. Okay, there might have been a hint of handball about the first goal, but I don't think it was. It was just it was a ball to hand more than anything. And it's a good finish from Foxy. Nice build up. Mariona, I thought, ran the show. I think she was either her or who they were saying was player of the match. I can't remember on Wednesday. It was I would say she was the player of the match. She set up nicely for Beth, and Caden finishes well. And then ultimately we huffed and puffed. It wasn't the greatest second half from what I was watching, to be honest, but we dominated the ball. The substitutions were made at the right time, and then ultimately we killed off the game with some good counter-attacking football with the lovely assist for Stina, who was going to shoot. But maybe, I don't know, there's a bit of lack of confidence on Stina's part there. In the third pass, she might just slotted that into the corner, but she had the awareness to pick out Mario, and then she lifted over the keeper. And lovely finish from Leslie for the 4th. So they added a bit of Gloucester's scoreline. We were made to work for it, but it was good to just get the W in the end. And I don't know whether you could say the players were playing with the handbrake off, but you could just see maybe what had happened was on their minds, and not fully gone over it, but hopefully it's something we can take as a stepping stone going forward, and hopefully build the rest of the season around that.
Exactly, it was so important that we got the win, exactly. And it didn't really matter how we played necessarily or anything else. We just had to win that game because it keeps us in such a good position in the group. And I was a little bit frustrated with some of the way that we played in parts of the game, and all that playing out from the back nonsense, which obviously cost us the goal. But we got the job done, and that's all you can do. It doesn't matter who you play. It doesn't matter the circumstances. All you can do is win your game, and that's what we had to do, and that's what we did. And ultimately, we've got to be pleased that that's what we did, because that's the way it is. Johnny says, I remember before the season started, I was complaining having Kim Little as our daily starter. Yet other teams have younger, hungry midfielders like Nuski and Captain, Hazagawa and Park. Well, they are younger, but sometimes experience is good, isn't it? Sometimes, but I've got to be honest with you, Kim Little hasn't had the best start for the season, but she's not the only one, let's be honest. Greg said, under the circumstances over the last few games, it was a good result. Absolutely, a fantastic result. The performance wasn't fantastic, but the result was, and that's ultimately it's a results business, isn't it? If Jonas had a couple of better results with some worse performances, he would have probably still been here and would have been happy. But you're absolutely right. And it says, girls look more free and considering, I don't think they didn't necessarily look more free at all. I thought it was exactly the same as they played against Chelsea. Actually, we just got the goals, and because Chelsea are a better team than Valerenga. And it says, enjoyed the game when I missed Fox's goal. Yeah, see, that's the point, isn't it? Because the DAZN YouTube channel said they were showing the game live, and then when the game started, they didn't show it live. So I was watching it on that, and then suddenly the game started. It's like, what are you doing? They were showing highlights. They didn't show the game. So I agree that DAZN should be sacked. We've had season. What's happened is you've got the WSL have got their YouTube channel, and we saw what happened in the game the other week where they just cut the stream before the end of the game. We've had DAZN channel saying they're going to show a game and then they don't show a game. It's ridiculous. Like, you're getting amateurs. Let's face it, YouTube are amateurs when it comes to streaming live football, right? They're not professionals at doing it. Leave it to the professionals, right? That's what you've got to do. We want it to get more coverage. We want more people to be able to watch women's football, absolutely. But if you're going to make the coverage so bad, you're going to turn people against it. It's got to be professional. It's got to be the top quality it can possibly be. And so far, DAZN and the WSL channel are completely messing it up. And as the FA player did before, to be fair, with ridiculous camera angles and them going off the air and stuff. So it's not good enough. There's enough money now coming into the game from the Sky deal and stuff like that. Let's make sure the coverage that we show is top quality, as good as it can be. None of this it's like filming it on your phone, isn't it? That's what it looks like sometimes. They're out there filming it on their phone. This is a professional. This is the top league in the world. Make it look good. Don't keep messing about with it. Terrible. It doesn't terrible. They should be losing.
To be fair, what I watched, it was all right. To be fair, it wasn't too bad, but
and says, "Can I be a moderator?" It makes me feel extra special. You can be a moderator if you like. I don't know what it involves, but anyway, I'm not paying you to do it because I don't have any money. Johnny says, when we get a new manager, we should revamp the squad, get rid of players like Leah Kim, Mead, and Russo. Well, I think that's a bit harsh. Obviously, a new manager will come in and shape the squad in how they want. Of course, that's what new managers do. You've got to allow them to do that, haven't you? But I think Leah's such an important part of the team and the club. I would definitely wouldn't want to see her go. Russo's only recently come in. It's only her second season, so we're not going to get rid of her quite yet, are we? I think Kim Little is reaching the end. We know that. So that's something that will be looked at, I'm sure, anyway. Beth Mead's a funny one because we know she's great. She's brilliant quality she's got. But, again, she's not playing well. So she needs to improve her game first before we start worrying about too much else. Greg says, you are extra special. Exactly, yeah. Of course, Angie is special. We've got Retro Rewind TV on as well, saying hi to and he said hi to everyone else. Well, good stuff. Good to see you. LG says Stina is the Darwin Núñez of women's football. Goals, but at the same time misses countless chances and hits the bar. Well, I wouldn't say hits the bar a lot. She's hit the bar in the last two games. I don't remember last time she hit the bar before that, so I wouldn't say she hits the bar a lot. She does get important goals and she does miss chances, but so does every single striker in the world. I said this the other night in the game when the game was on. If I see my centre forward missing chances, I'm happy because they're getting in the positions to miss. If they're not getting chances to miss, then I'm worried. Stina's always in those positions to miss chances, and she does score plenty of goals. So, that's what no striker scores all their chances. Look at Haaland. Look how many chances he misses, and he still scores 150 goals a season. Fine. You know what I mean? No one scores them all. Johnny says, if Arsenal want to be back to its best, they need to be ruthless like Chelsea. They got rid of Kirby, Berger, Carter, and made. But only like in the last year or so, they kept them until then, didn't they? And says, I love Stina, and best bit of Chelsea game when the ball hit her on the head. The ball hit her on the head. I don't remember that. Anyway, and says Captain Kimmy and her wee leg. Well, yeah, exactly, yeah. But they're starting. A little wee legs are starting to run out of batteries, aren't they? Unfortunately. Greg says if the games aren't on terrestrial TV, the club should show the games themselves. Yeah, and obviously Arsenal have shown games previously, haven't they? On the website, they've streamed them, so we can do it. I agree. Maybe that's what needs to happen in future. Either on terrestrial TV or the club showing themselves. You can subscribe to your own club and watch it that way. That's for me. That's the answer. It's always been the answer, but too much money. That's the problem. But I agree with you, Greg. Absolutely. It's never going to happen, is it? So anyway, after beating Valerenga, which was a good win in the end, we're back in WSL action this weekend, and it is a game that's caused us a few problems in the past, especially last season. Now, I always like West Ham away because they play at the Dagenham Redbridge ground, which was, when I grew up, they were the nearest team to where I lived. And I used to go and watch Dagenham Redbridge when I was a kid quite a lot. There used to be behind the goal where there's the new stand with the seats. That used to be just a grass hill, and used to sit on top of the grass hill and watch the game when I was a kid at Dagenham when I was growing up, because it was literally around the corner to where I lived. So I've always had a soft spot for Dagenham. I love Dagenham Redbridge. I love their little stadium, and the fact West Ham women play there is quite nice because WSL games are now happening in this stadium, which is fantastic. Obviously, they caused us some problems. We lost the game last year that we should have won. We were 1-0 up, threw it away, and that was one of the games that summed up last season, really, didn't it? Losing games that we should have won. And this was one of the big ones on that particular score. But overall, West Ham have struggled last season. They're struggling a bit this season. They're a team that we should beat without thinking too much about it. But in the type of form that we've had, we've only won one game in the WSL so far. I don't think we can take it lightly. I think we have to be serious. We have to be switched on, and we're going to have to play well to win this game. I mean, what do you feel ahead of this game? Because obviously we should win with the players we've got compared to the players they've got, but that's not football, is it? That's not how football works.
No, and everybody who says we'll win comfortably there, just look back the last 2 years. There was a 0-0 draw when Mackenzie Arnold played world class, and last season you already mentioned it, 1-0 up and 2-1 lost there. So and the situation is a lot more difficult now. We are under pressure. We need the 3 points in the WSL to be back on track, and we are sixth position at the moment. That's not what Arsenal is used to. So we have to win this. Then it's the international break, the chance to sort things out, to regroup and concentrate on much more difficult games like United away. And so after Saturday's match against Chelsea, I was thinking, we won't beat Valerenga, we will lose at West Ham. But now, having seen them on Wednesday, I see that confidence is coming back. And as I said, the players feel more freedom to do things decide things on their own, not these strict tacticals. And they are allowed to shoot. And so I'm optimistic for the West Ham game. It won't be easy, and it won't be a high score for us, but we will win. And I hope that René will give young players a chance. We still have Rosa on the bench. We still have Catherine Kuhl or Katie Reed. Give them a chance. Let them play. And if we say they are not ready, they are not adapted to the WSL, how can they get ready? How can they adapt to the WSL? Only if they get minutes. You see it with players like Aggie Beaver-Jones. She got them her minutes last season despite Sam Kerr playing in the first half of the season. Or see Jess Park, she's playing. She gets confidence by playing and adapting to the speed, to the pace of the WSL and everything, the physicality. Give the young players a chance. Of course, you can't start with all the young guns. That's not, but you can make early subs, and you can always integrate 1 or 2 of the younger players. And I hope René will do this. As I said, I'm optimistic. We will have a good match, and with the confidence from the 4-1 against Valerenga, we will dominate West Ham. We are, of course, miles ahead of West Ham in the quality of the squad, and so we should win. And if we stick with Daphne in goal, I say this time we'll keep a clean sheet, and we will win 2-0. So it's okay. Of course, we all want to score more goals and have a high score there. But I think in our situation, a 2-0 with a clean sheet would be nearly perfect to move on.
Absolutely. I mean, we need to win the game, quite honestly, because if I don't, I know you said before that, we can't win the WSL this season. When you think about it, we've drawn 2 games and lost 1. Now, Chelsea and Man City are going to draw 2 games and lose 1 at least, aren't they? They are. I mean, Man City have drawn 1 already with us. So we'd have to win nearly every game. And there's no reason why, with the players we've got, we couldn't potentially do that. We'd need to turn our form around quite quickly. But we have to beat West Ham first, because if we drop points against West Ham, then I would say that is it. It would be definitely over. That'd be too much to make up in such a short time. But as things stand right now, if we beat West Ham, we then go away to Man United after the break and beat them. I think we are still in with a chance. But we have to win those games. We've been talking about it. We have to go and do it, don't we? And I think it's a massive, massive game on Sunday now because of the situation that we're in the league. We're down in a position we're not used to being in. And yes, it's only temporary, and we will climb our way back up, I'm sure. But yeah, We have to start winning games in the WSL. We have to start being more consistent with our results, and it's got to start on Sunday. You mentioned the young players, Andreas, and obviously we all want to see these young players. We want to see Rosa play more. We want to see, Catherine play more. We want to see Katie Reid play and all this stuff. Vivian Lear and people like this, right? But at the moment, we're so under pressure to win the game. You have to go with your experienced players. You have to. And hopefully, if we start winning some games and we're in a more comfortable position, we can then start integrating the young players more often. I think at the moment, we're not in a position to do that. We're in a position where we have to win. And that's the most important thing. And you've got to go with your experienced players in these situations. Yes, you can bring them off the bench if we're 3-0 up. Absolutely. The only one I would consider playing, if Lotta is still unable to play, I would be very, very tempted to start Katie Reid instead of Leia, because Leia Cadena had a terrible game the other night. I don't know, she's great, but she was awful. And I would be tempted to make that change and bring Katie Reid in alongside Leah Williamson, because I think, one, she'll learn from Leah anyway, but two, I think she's ready. She showed that in pre-season. I think she's ready. And I would, if I was going to change anything and put a young player in, it would be her for Leia Cadena on Sunday. I don't think it will happen, if I'm honest. I don't think it will, because again, I do think we need the experience. But that would be one I would consider for this game, just because of the circumstances of it. But let's see. LG says, I said it on Wednesday that if we get Walsh, then one of Kim or Walty needs to go. The little Walty double pivot needs to be broken up. It does lack legs. Yeah, you're right. It does. And I think we've been exposed with that in a few occasions. So you're right. LG says there, West Ham 1, Arsenal 9, September 2020. Pre-GFA players, please tell me. But yeah, obviously that was something quite special. But you don't get games like that anymore in the WSL, really, do you? I know Chelsea beat Crystal Palace 7-0, but you don't really get games like that, there. LG says Vivian Asai is a threat. Andreas will know her very well. Yeah, she's a great player, actually. She's a very good player. She's caused us problems before. Greg says last season doesn't matter. That's the past. Sunday's the start of a new era. Well, it is, but unfortunately, a lot of the players who are going to play Sundays played in last season's game, and they'll remember it. And when you go back to that place, they're the memories that you have. And it shouldn't matter, but it does. Too often it does. And that's the problem, isn't it? Roland says Arsenal need to start looking at players of the profile of Sophia Smith and a midfielding force like Sam, Kofi. We need speed in the wide area. I think we've got speed, but yeah, we do need maybe to have a look at the squad, but a new manager coming in will do that, I'm sure. Greg says, Cole played last season, didn't play that good. She's definitely not good enough for Emirates, but not at the moment. She's not, no, absolutely not. And Ange agrees. LG says, maybe that's why our women's team have not gone anywhere. We don't take risks by integrating young players. We play it safe with the older players, unlike Chelsea and Messi. Yeah, but Chelsea used their experienced players for years, didn't they, under Emma? You know what I mean? They always, look at Millie Bright still playing. They've always had that core of their experienced players in their team, and you need that. You can't suddenly throw 7 or 8 youngsters in and expect to do any good. Not when you're under the pressure that we are. You do that when you're in a comfortable position, whether it's in a game itself or if it's in the season as a whole. You can't just throw them all in. That's no way to do it. Ange says Cody is a start, which probably will be. She probably will be, but I would throw Katie in maybe if we were going to. But yeah, obviously 2-0 would do us nicely. We did win there 2-0 in the last game of the season a few years ago, didn't we? LG says Sam, Kofi, Kira Walsh by well, potentially, but I wouldn't mind Kira Walsh actually, to be fair. But let's see what happens in maybe January. I mean, West Ham away, not been the happiest ground for us recently, but are we going to turn it around on Sunday, get the win, and move up that league table?
Well, hopefully. I mean, I know West Ham's got many people's tips for relegation this season, mine included. Now, we could say they've been a bit unlucky so far. Okay, they competed well against Manchester United, lost 3-0. Had a perfectly good goal disallowed away to City, lost 2-0. That game might have been different as well. And again, okay, Liverpool being more clinical, they could have finished them off. They got a draw, and then what happened last time? I think they also drew at Everton, but again conceded an own goal after taking the lead. You can see they lack goals, but again, I think if we could just keep it a bit tighter back and not play not just to take any unnecessary risks and keep it tight, we can keep them the chances to a minimum. They don't create that many times if you think about it. I mean, last season's game hinged on a bit of a poor refereeing decision when Steph was adjudged to a foul that made a foul in the area when it was outside, and then Manu made an error. But now we've got Daphne in goal, a little bit more solid. Now, again, I don't know if you can call it the players playing with a bit more handbrake off. You can't take anybody in this league lightly. Even the teams fighting at the bottom, and West Ham will be up for it. And, Rhian Skinner, of course, having managed Spurs beforehand, will be up for it as well. I can see us going there. Don't, as you guys have said rightly, don't expect us to win that comfortably. But it's a good opportunity to build on the Valerenga game, and hopefully we can continue. We can just be a bit more clinical and see the game off relatively comfortably without making any mistakes. Again, let's hope this time with anyone watching on YouTube is going to have much more success than what they had against in the Leicester game. But we won't go into that. Results, as far as the score is concerned, I think we will win. It won't be as convincing, but I'll say, a good solid 2-0 as well. I think we can go there, hopefully keep a clean sheet as well. So I'll say 2-0 as well.
2-0 will do nicely. Emerson has gone 3-1. Come on, Emerson. With Daphne in goal, we're not going to concede, are we? So make it 3-0, and then you'll probably be about right. And says, Kira, be patient. Indeed, I think she's coming. LG says, I agree that our midfield lacks an enforcer destroyer like an Herbadall. So, I think we do. But a lot of that depends on the manager and the way we want to play, I suppose, and the way the manager wants to play, new manager wants to play. If that's what the sort of player he wants, the sort of midfield he wants, I'm sure we'll get those players in eventually. And if it's more of a ball-playing midfield rather than the physical side, I'm sure that those players, if necessary, will come in. So let's see. Greg says we'll build on the last game 5-0. Well, you see, Greg's always optimistic, which I like. Obviously, Terry, by the way, if you're wondering where Terry is, he's not been in the chat. He's actually on holiday. He said he was watching the game with us on Wednesday, and he's gone on holiday to Spain fishing with his dad. So he's going to be away for a week and a half, I think it is. So he's going to miss a few shows, but he did send his best wishes. No doubt his score prediction would have been 6-0 or something like that. Which is fine. He will be back. He will be back soon, but he's on holiday. So we are missing Terry, but we know he's having a good time and he'll be back soon. But obviously we've got Greg to give us good predictions as well, like 5-0, which we absolutely love. There's no absolute problem with that at all. I'm a little bit I'm in two minds about this game actually, because I do think we'll win, and I do think that we've got the potential to win fairly comfortably because West Ham aren't really that good.
No,
are they? They're not. They're one of the weaker teams in the league. We know that. And again, if we were going to West Ham, I think in a good run of form, I would be confident we would go there and win maybe 4 or 5-0. I'm not quite sure we're at that point yet. So I still think we've got we're still a little bit shaky. You still think we're going to have a few mistakes in us that we need to get out of our system a bit. But hopefully we can reduce the mistakes. We've got Daphne to save us behind the defence as well. So I think we'll win. I can't see West Ham scoring against us. I just can't see them scoring against us. I know I said that last year and they scored 2 goals, but I can't see them scoring against us. I think we'll be too strong. I think that it's almost last chance saloon in the league. We have to win. Nothing else is good enough. And I think the players know that. I think Rene knows that. Everybody knows that. And I think that is going to be the driving force. And I think that we will go there and win. I'm actually going to go 3-0. I kind of like Emerson's, but I think we won't concede. So I'm going to go 3-0. I'm not necessarily think it's going to be a comfortable win because I don't think it will be. And again, it might be like the other night. We might need a late goal or two to settle the nerves down potentially. But I think we'll win 3-0. I think we're much too good. And we'll see. And says, my Terry's gone fishing. Indeed, he has gone fishing with his dad, which is nice. And he said, I'll take the win. Well, of course, we'll take the win. I'll take the win every single week. Cal says Leia Cadena must drop. Well, she had a bad in the last game, but she has played pretty well. Greg says West Ham will be lucky to get in our penalty area twice the whole game. Yeah, and when they do get in our penalty area twice, there's Daphne there to sort it all out. So we don't need to panic, do we? We don't need to worry. It's fine. We'll be fine. Now we've got the right goalkeeper in goal, we'll be fine. Although we don't know who she's going to pick yet, do we? Rene went with Daphne the other night, which maybe wouldn't have happened if Jonas was a manager because he used to prefer Manu for the Champions League, I suppose. But after the Bayern Munich game, I think we all agreed, didn't we, that should have been Manu's maybe last game as a first choice starter. And maybe it will be. But let's see what happens. It's going to be as always, when it comes to Arsenal, nothing's ever straightforward, nothing's ever simple. So no doubt there'll be difficulties in that game and all this kind of stuff, and we'll end up kind of suffering, but we'll still win. LG's gone 2-1. Win is more likely. Well, yeah, maybe. And says Dutch Daphne and I don't know. Is that Dutch? I don't know. But I suppose, yeah, well, obviously Daphne's Dutch, the manager's Dutch, so you expect she'll play probably just on that basis. But she should do anyway because she's brilliant, Daphne. And we know that. So, yeah, let's hope that we can finally get our WSL season kick-started with a good victory, get going, and then go into the international break on a little bit of a high following the 2 victories. And will that be enough for Ren to job a bit longer? Maybe it will. She's done nothing wrong so far, and she talks well in the media, and she knows the club. She seems to have a vision of what she wants. I've got no issue with her staying in that temporary role a little bit longer if that's what it takes, rather than, as I said before, don't rush into a manager now just because you can get someone. Don't get Casey Stoney because she's available. Please think about it more deeply than that. It's a long-term plan, isn't it? It is a long-term plan that we need to do, and that's what we've got to think of. And Renee's done great so far, and she's a good fit at the moment. So let's not rush. That's what I'm saying. But if we lose to West Ham, they can go and all, and that's it. We'll get someone else that way. But if we beat West Ham, Renee can stay a bit longer. That's sort of how we're going to have to do it, isn't it? So yes, of course, that is what a quiet week it was. What a quiet week it was. We're so used to weekend going on, aren't we? We're so used to things going on here and there and loads of stuff happening. So to have a quiet week when nothing happens is quite unusual, isn't it? So I'm surprised we managed to get through the show actually with stuff to talk about. It's been such a quiet week. But it's been good. It's been a good week. It's been ups and downs. We've finished on a high by beating Valerenga, and now we've got to look forward to a big game on Sunday, of course, against West Ham, which of course we're going to win. Of course we are, because we will, because West Ham are not very good, and we are still a good side. Despite everything, we are still a good side, aren't we? Let's be honest. We have got great players. And it is going to be good. So, yes, we're looking forward to the weekend. Of course, it is international break, isn't it? Which probably means next Friday, England will probably be playing, because we normally play on Friday.
England playing Germany next Friday, I think. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So we'll probably be watching that game. So we probably won't do a show next Friday because of that reason. Plus, as well, it won't be a game to look forward to because there's no games next weekend. So we'll probably be back the week after. That'll be before the Man United game, won't it? So that could be interesting.
Yes.
You'll be available for a Friday that week, won't you, Andreas? Because you won't be flying over, will you? So we can do it on Friday again, which would be good. I'll say this season we're going to be a little bit up and down with probably some of the nights we do the shows. We might be changing nights, a few weeks here and there. But we will keep the show obviously every week, like normal, apart from maybe international weeks. But I'll probably show the game on Friday against Germany because that'll be good, won't it? We'll enjoy that. And of course, this weekend there's 2 big games on Saturday tomorrow. The tea time kickoff. Arsenal versus Bournemouth in the Premier League. That is going to be good fun, isn't it? Another game we should win, but who knows? So I'll be here at 5:15 for that game. So join me for that. And of course, Sunday 3:00 kickoff on a Sunday is quite strange, isn't it? West Ham away, of course, for the women. So we will be here for that one. Make sure you get all your shopping done before the game, otherwise the shops will be shut when the game's finished. 4:00 doors, which is ridiculous. But so make sure you get your shopping done before the game. So join us about 2:45 on Sunday for that one. Hopefully, it's going to be 2 good wins for Arsenal this weekend, and we can enjoy. They're probably the last, by the look of it, the last of the reasonable weather before winter arrives next week. So let's make the most of this weekend. Get out and about if you can. Watch the football, watch the show, watch the channel, and all that kind of stuff. But make sure you watch Andreas's vlog of Valerenga because it is brilliant, and there's so much stuff in there. And Ganosaurus is there as a special guest, and we're going to get him on the show as well, so that's going to be good. But yeah, definitely watch that because it was amazing. So yes, there'll be other vlogs from Andreas, of course, coming up as well as the season progresses as well. So look out for all of that. But yeah, it's been a stressful week, maybe in some ways, hasn't it? We've been through the ringer this week, but we've got through it. Roland says, Rich, what do you think some of the more popular Arsenal platforms infringing on your territory now? Talking about women's football platforms like Charles Watts, AFTV, just no. Well, no, you're right, and this has been something that I've been obviously keep an eye on. And I've got no problem with other channels covering women's football, covering Arsenal women, because I think the team deserves to get coverage. Yes, it does appear as though some people are jumping on the bandwagon a little bit because suddenly it's become more popular. We were here, we were doing this show when there was 2,000 fans at Meadow Park. So, you know, we haven't jumped on any bandwagon. We've been here from the start. And I'm hoping that people that watch the show, people that are interested in the Arsenal women's team in particular, understand that and will stick with us, even though there's other. And watch everybody. I'm not saying don't watch all the other channels. If you can, watch everybody. Why not? You know, I've got no problem with that. I'm not one of these people that says, oh, no, don't watch anybody else, only watch us. No, watch other channels as well, of course. I watch other channels and pick things up and learn stuff and find out what's going on. Of course we do. But that's right. I think other channels now are seeing the benefits of covering women's football because of how popular it's become. And that's fair enough. I don't mind. As long as you guys out there stay with us and watch us every week and watch the games with us, I don't mind. To be fair, the number of views we had watching the game on Wednesday was one of the most ever. You know, the last week's show on last Thursday, we did it, that had the most views ever on a women's show. The one I did Tuesday had even more views. Hopefully tonight's got even more. We're growing. And as a channel, so if that means by more people covering it, it means more people are interested, so more people will watch us. I've got no problem with it, you know. And we know we were first, so they can do what they like. But they might be bigger than us, might have a bigger audience than us. We were first, and we were doing this before anybody else was. There you go. And Gerard says women's football isn't a sport. Well, what is it then? If it's not a sport, then what is it? If it's not a sport, no, I'm interested now. You've said it's not a sport. So if it's not a sport, what is it? Is it a game? Is it? I don't know. You tell me what you think. It's definitely a sport. Tell me what you think it is, and we can have a discussion. Greg says this is the only show that gives an honest opinion. Well, we give our opinion, and that's it. You know, that's all we do. You know, because that's all we can do. And says there, Rich owns it, and as a female tune. Hey, you're always with us, and we appreciate what you do. Jared says that it's a joke, a money making.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
What's men's football if it's not a money-making fast? You tell me what's the difference. What is the difference? They're exactly the same. In fact, men's football is everything about men's football is about money. Women's football's only become about money in the last couple of years as it's become more popular, which was obvious was going to happen. You know, you're saying it's a joke. Why is it a joke? If you don't like women's football, don't watch it. Do something else. We don't care. There's lots of people that enjoy women's football. And if you want to watch women's football and think, well, it's not as good as men's football, well, that's your problem. That's not women's football's problem, right? Women's football is fantastic for what it is.
Yeah, 100%.
Fantastic, right? It's fantastic to watch. It's fantastic being in the stadium, the atmosphere at women's football, and it's just a fantastic environment to be around, right? And that's fine. There'll be people like yourself out there, Jared, that don't enjoy it, right? And that is fine. We don't care if you like it or not. It's not important. But don't turn around and say it's a joke. You don't like it, and that's fine. You're allowed to have an opinion, but don't come and say it's a joke when it's not. When it's clearly not a joke. It's a very, very serious sport that is doing really, really well, and it's growing, and it deserves to grow. Jared says it does not have the heritage of the men's football. No, of course it doesn't. How can it have the heritage of men's football when it was banned?
It doesn't have to.
Come on, look, the standards are not as good. Well, no, the standards are different because men and women are different when it comes to sport. Men are stronger, fast in general. There are exceptions, but in general, men are faster, men are stronger, and when they play team sports, it looks different. It doesn't mean it's not as good. It just means it's different. You've got to understand the difference between men and women. Stop trying to compare. Why does everyone compare it? Why do you have to compare it? It's not the same.
No,
it's women. It's women playing sport. It's not men playing sport. At the end of the day, there's more. You can look at. Let's look at the Premier League, and you can look at so many things wrong with the Premier League, but you're happy with that because it's men's football and it's got the heritage, right? Women's football doesn't have that heritage, but if you watch it, it's pure football. It's like how men's football was 40 years ago. You're saying it hasn't got the heritage, no, but it's now watching women's football is like watching men's football before the money took over, before the cheating took over, before the time wasting took over, before VAR spoiled it. That's what you're getting in women's football. It's real football, not the kind of choreographed Premier League, which is getting boring. But, you know, if you don't like women's football, don't watch it. I'm not going to force you to. No one's forcing you to watch it, are they? You know what I mean? Carol says, like, subscribe. Thank you very much. Good to have you all. Hope you'll enjoy what So, London is blue. I enjoy watching women's football. Why wouldn't you? Why would you not enjoy watching women's football? It's fantastic.
I enjoyed it for 20 years. I love it.
Yeah. LG says, imagine if AFTV covered the women's team. I bet Joe Montemuro would be our manager. Well, yeah, I mean, they have sort of been covering it a little bit, haven't they? I did hear some nonsense the other day when I don't know if you know Ty, the little black guy on AFTV, and he was talking to Robbie, right? And he said that about the injuries. He said, because the reason why we're losing is because Amanda Illerstadt is injured. He said Amanda Illerstadt is injured. That's how much they follow women's football. She's not injured, mate. Sorry. Well, you can't play, but she's not injured. So learn what you're talking about before you start spouting nonsense. Greg says, "Why come on a women's football show?"
Exactly.
You must be drunk or on drugs. Well, exactly. I do wonder sometimes, but anyway, it's fair enough. Gerald says, "Well, I do regularly smoke cannabis, but I wouldn't consider that a serious drug." You don't consider women's football a serious sport, mate. So we don't really pay much attention to what you think serious or not, do we? And he says women are better end of. Well, yeah, of course you would say that, and of course we would. Why not? But there you go. We're not going to disagree with you.
Yeah, no, exactly.
There you go. London is blue says, "Well said, Andy." Jared says, "I know the real reason."
Do you?
Well, enlighten us, please. What is the real reason why we like watching women's football? Because I'm quite interested. You know, you've made some absolute nonsense comments so far, so I'm quite interested in what you've got to say now. Roland says that some of these platforms have a mandatory requirements for likes per episode because likes some influence YouTube. Well, no, they do. Yeah, likes and all that stuff do, and views and stuff do influence the algorithm. You're right, and I think more and more people are going to get involved in women's football for that reason. Yeah, I agree. But anyway, Anne says, "Oh, you've met Ty, have you? That's nice for you. I've seen him a load of times at games and stuff, and he's about 4'4", isn't he? Little tiny fella, but he is quite funny. I do quite like Ty. But obviously, if he's going to talk about women's football, at least try and research a little bit about what's going on, rather than you just make yourself look silly, don't you? But no, I quite like Ty. I think he's quite funny. Anyway, I'm just waiting for Jared to know exactly why, the real reason why we watch women's football. I'm very interested in this now, so we'll have to hang on until he decides to let us know what the real reason is, because I'm curious. Actually, I thought it was just literally for enjoyment of the football and the atmosphere of it all, and to help with the growth of the sport. But obviously, there's another reason that I can't think of. But anyway, I'm sure Jared will let us know at some point soon. But anyway, we don't mind people who maybe come. Oh, here we go. You come back because some of the women players have nice bodies. Well, some of the men's players have nice bodies as well. Do you think we watch men's football for that? They take their shirt off when they score goals with the men's team. Some of them do, don't they? Is that why we watch men's football? It's not why I watch men's football. It's not why I watch women's football either. Because what you're looking at is what we are talking about. Professional sports people. Professional sports people are in good shape. All of them, men, women, everybody, right? Because they train and they work out. So of course they're going to have good bodies, right? That's what it is. That's what sports people have generally, unless they're maybe darts players or snooker players, maybe. But physical sport, people that play physical sport are in good shape. But so what? That's just part of the course, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's that ridiculous. Anyway, Gerald says that depends on your sexuality. Well, I suppose it does, really. Yeah, I suppose it does, but that's not the reason why people watch sport, though, is it? Regardless of what your sexuality is, you don't watch sport. I mean, okay, some people might do. I don't know, but that's not the main reason people watch sport, is it? Retro Rewind TV says Sam Allardyce wasn't in top shape. Well, he was when he played. I mean, not as good a shape as the footballers nowadays, but the training is different now, isn't it? And footballers are athletes now. They didn't used to be, did they? In Sam Allardyce's day, although I'm sure Sam Allardyce in the 1970s was in slightly better shape than he is in 2024. But that's just age catching up with him, isn't it? I suppose. But I like Sam Allardyce. Let's not. I don't want to see any negative comments. LG says, as much as I am happy for the growth of women's game, I still want it to be a niche and an alternative. Good point. As soon as it becomes mainstream, a lot of things we like may be taken away. Now, we've mentioned this before. I've said it quite a few times. If it goes down the route of men's football, it's going to get ruined because men's football's got ruined. So I want it to stay niche as well, but it can't grow and stay niche at the same time, can it? It's impossible. I don't know what the answer is, but it can't. Jared says there, maybe I should give it a chance. I just don't like change, and the men's sport has been my life.
Do give it a chance.
I've got to be honest with you. I started watching men's football in the 1970s. There was no women's football around then. So I grew up watching men's football, and I watched men's football. I followed the Arsenal team home and away for years and years and years, right? And then women's football started to become a little bit more, it was out there more. There was the league, the WSL, all this kind of stuff. And you started watching women's football more. And you just start to, I must admit, in recent years, it's become more important because of the way that men's football's gone down a route that I don't like. And women's football's gone the opposite way. So, but each their own. But give it a go. Definitely give it a go. I 100% give it a go. Watch some women's football. Watch WSL because it's great. And watch the Lionesses play because it's great. And I'm sure that give it a bit of time and you will enjoy it. Don't compare it to men's football. Just watch it for what it is, which is elite sport played by women, and it's great. So yeah, please give it a go. London is Blue says, give women their credit. Exactly. That's what it's about, isn't it? It was about years of them not being able to play football. Now they can. Now it's growing. England have won the Euros. We've reached the World Cup final. It's fantastic, isn't it? What more could you want? Come on. All we want to see now is Arsenal being good again and win everything.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly.
Good. That's what we want to see now. That's the only change we need is for Arsenal to start being good again, and hopefully it'll happen on Sunday and go from there. So yeah, come on, Joe. You see, you started off saying it was rubbish. Now you're going to watch it. That's what we like to see. You see, we like to try and change people's minds. That's what we're here for. Greg says women's football is what men's football used to be like years ago when you could tackle. Well, that's true. Yeah, when you could tackle. Yeah. Retro Rewind TV says I like women's football. I know I say it from time to time. I lack interest in it. It's just the lack of quality in the game is like watching National League. Well, sometimes it can be, of course, because it's still behind, isn't it? It's still a long way behind, but it's still great, and it's never going to be the same as men's football, and it never will be. It doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be. LG says men's football is all about the money, women's football is all about the passion. What a great statement that is, by the way. What a great statement.
Very good point.
That's so true. Absolutely, I agree with that. And says, my time was men first. Exactly, yeah. We all grew up watching men's football, didn't we? Because that's all there was. So, of course, we did. We loved it. And I still love men's football, let's be honest. I just don't like the direction it's gone in. It's not the same as it was, and I don't really like the modern men's football. But, each their own. Greg agrees with LG. I think that is definitely the comment of the night, that men's football is all about the money, women's football is all about the passion. In fact, that should be the slogan on the channel, I think. That should be our new slogan on the channel. And if you're going to write graffiti, if you're going to spray graffiti on the walls, spray that on the wall instead, because that makes more sense than Jonas Eidevall or whatever else you want to put on there. If Banks is watching, I'll do some graffiti on the wall somewhere near the ground. That's what we want to see. Brilliant stuff. So that is Friday evening, done. The Arsenal Women's Show. It's starting the weekend. Well, not as always, but as always it should be, because our show should always be on a Friday evening. So it is the start of the weekend. It's going to be a big weekend of football, of course, as it always is. There's going to be a bit of sunshine as well this weekend, so enjoy it while you can, because know that it'll be snowing by next week, which is good. So thanks to everyone for watching. Some really big views again, some great comments actually, some new names in the chat, which is always nice to see. We love some new names getting involved with us. Hopefully you'll stay with us and you'll keep watching. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you guys again as well. Of course, Andreas, it's been a strange old week, hasn't it? But we made it to the end, and it's been good, and we've got a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, interesting week, and therefore I couldn't wait for the show, and I love to be on the show again. I think it was great to discuss everything, and once again, don't compare women's football with the Premier League. Compare the Premier League to the German Bundesliga, Serie A in Italy, or to the Spanish men's league, and compare the WSL with the German women's Bundesliga or the Spanish women's league. Compare this, and yeah, it's different, but you don't say. We talked about this a week ago. You don't compare athletics or swimming and say, oh, they are a lot slower running the 100 meters or the 10,000 meters. Don't compare the professional women's athletes and women's sport with the men's. Compare the men's leagues in different countries and the women's league in different countries. That's what you have to compare. And then you will see that it's really professional sports, and it's entertaining. It's a familiar atmosphere. I remember the first time when I went to a women's match, it was in 2017. Saturday I watched the Bayern Munich men's game, and Sunday the Bayern Munich women. And I compared the women's game to the men's game the day before and said, oh, it's not physical, it's so slow. But I like the atmosphere. I said, okay, I give it a go. I'll come again the next match. And then I realized I can't compare it to the men's game. And I went again, again. And that's when my passion for the women's football started. And still here I am. And I love to be at the matches, the atmosphere at the Emirates, even on Wednesday with 5,600 or so. It was a good atmosphere. And we can be proud of the development. And I'm proud to be a part of this, part of the show, of the development of women's football and everything. I gave an interview to Optus Sport, this Australian streaming channel.
Yes, we saw that. That was brilliant. That
I mentioned there about our show and told them watch our show, but of course she cut it off and didn't post it on Facebook, unfortunately. But well, I'm trying everything to get our show known to as many people as possible.
Same.
Everybody who watches us and likes our show or my blogs, please give us a like. We need it to get this algorithm on YouTube. Okay.
exactly.
That's
and obviously
the show.
That's brilliant. I mean, at the end of the day, there's a lot of competition now for women's shows, as we said before. So, it's important that we keep our audience going. And says, a great show, somewhere I belong. Indeed, you do belong, Ange, and I'm sure you'll be back on very soon. We look forward to seeing you again. Greg says, great show as always. Definitely the best Arsenal show available. Best people and best comments. It's definitely, I think it is the best show. I personally do. And it is great people and it is great comments as well. And we love it all. LG makes another good point. LG's on fire tonight, actually. LG, you are on fire, my friend. We never compare Floyd Mayweather with Mike Tyson, even though the former is a lightweight fighter on the other side. But exactly, yeah. And that's the point, isn't it? You've got to compare like for like. Don't compare things that aren't equal because it's pointless. Absolutely pointless. That's another great. LG, you should be writing the script for this show. That's brilliant. Greg says everything stops in my house when you're on. I get the missus to change plans. So I don't miss it. Well, that's great. So that's what we want to see, isn't it? That's a commitment there. That is commitment for you. That is commitment from Greg. Fantastic. And obviously, we know Terry's normally with us, but obviously we know tonight he's on holiday, so we'll let him off. Retro Rewind TV says. Good show, thanks, Mitch and Vers. Now, thank you again for joining us.
No problem, mate. No problem.
Seb says, I love women's football too. Try to take my daughter as often as possible. I love your show. Subscribe. Thank you very much. See, that's what it's about, isn't it? Take your daughter. It's about the next generation, isn't it? That is what it is all about. And that's great to see. And hopefully your daughter will grow up to love women's football as much as we all do. And that's what we want, isn't it? The new generation of fans to come through as well. So brilliant stuff. Amar, well, of course, we could sort of see you a bit more tonight. You're a little bit lighter than you have been.
Yeah, I was in my bedroom again. That's why I'm in my bedroom again. That's why, yeah.
A little bit better. Have you obviously enjoyed being with us again?
Yeah, I can't lie. It's great. I just spend the Friday. It's gonna be sad when they're not next Friday. Unfortunately, I'm working on Sunday, so I won't be able to watch the game. But hopefully, the girls will do me proud and do us proud. So yeah, I mean, it's always great to be part of this community. Been following the game for 20 years, and yeah, to anyone who doesn't like women's sport, look, for example, I'll give you another great example. I mean, I'm a golf fan. I watch a lot of men's golf. Just because the women don't hit it as far and are not as strong doesn't make me any less likely to watch it. I'll still watch it because there's some phenomenal athletes out there. Women's cricket, for example, they may not hit the ball as far or bowl as fast as the men. Does that make me any less likely to watch it? No, because what they're doing is still great. You can compare a lot of women's sports to men's, and say you can try and compare rather a lot of women's sports to men. Doesn't make me any less likely to watch it. I just think I watch it because you get a lot out of it and you learn a lot as well, and that's what important. And it inspires the next generation, and that's what it's ultimately meant to do, and that's why we love doing what we do. So long may it continue.
Yeah, I mean, sport is sport, isn't it? At the end of the day, if it's women playing the sport or it's men playing the same sport. It doesn't matter. It's still sport, isn't it? It's still, and when it's top level sport, it's still top level sport, and that's what it is. And yeah, it doesn't matter that it's not the same. It's not meant to be the same. Men and women aren't the same. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of life. If men and women were the same, there'd be no human race, would there? So the fact that men and women are different is what creates men and women in the first place. And without that, we wouldn't have women's sport, we wouldn't have men's sport, we'd have nothing. So we need to accept the fact that men and women are different, enjoy the fact that they're different, and appreciate the fact that women can play sport in the same way men can play sport. They're just in a different type of way because they're different, and that's great. The only sport I wouldn't compare. The only sport I don't even like for women is actually boxing. and UFC and that kind of stuff. I don't like to see women fighting each other. I just don't like it.
No.
I don't think they should be doing it, but people like it, and that's fair enough. And fair play to them. But I personally don't like to see two women punching the hell out of each other. It doesn't seem right to me. That's all. But I know people enjoy it. That's fair enough. Greg says, "Come on, you Gooner girls. We're right behind you. Indeed, we're always right behind the Gooner girls." Brandon says, "What happens when the transgender scam ruins women's football?" Well, if that starts to happen, we'll have to have a discussion about it, won't we? Because obviously that shouldn't be happening. And Brandon says, when male players pretend to be women to join that league. Well, there's always, that's been happening in lower leagues, and we've seen it happening already. But hopefully in the top level, they'll manage to be able to stop it from happening. But I don't know how they will. That's going to be a problem they need to solve, don't they? That will eventually happen. Look, the Olympics, that's all. It is a worry. I've got to be honest, it is a worry. But I'm sure the people that run football won't allow it to become an issue. Hopefully, because that would just be ridiculous. Seb says, "Gents, do you think Casey Stoney is the best choice?" Well, I don't know if you was in the show earlier. We talked about it. Probably not. We don't think so, do we, Andreas? You don't think she's the best choice, is she?
For a very long time, I was pro Casey Stoney, but I read now about her problems with offensive playing, or that she prefers a defensive style. It's difficult to say. You can only play a style with the players you have, and and the US team she was managing didn't have enough offensive players, so she had to play defensive. She was successful there. She was successful in Man United. Got promoted from the Championship to the USL. So I think she's a good manager. Is she the best choice? It's difficult to say. A few weeks ago, I thought yes. After I read some things, I'm not sure, but I always believe what Tim Stillman says, and he says now she's not considered by the board. Let's wait.
Exactly, let's wait. Yeah, I personally don't think she's the best choice. She's a choice, but I think there's better options out there, but we'll see. Brandon says, we live in the most bizarre period in human history. We absolutely are. There's no question about that, my friend. We are definitely living in the most bizarre period of human history.
You never know what's around the corner.
Seb says, sorry, I just don't. No worries, mate. If you want to watch, you can be on when we finish, you'll be able to watch it from the start. So that'd be good. Greg says, the growth of women's football is fantastic. I remember watching Arsenal in the FA Cup years ago at Palace. There was about 1,000. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, lots of cup. I mean, I remember, was there some? I'm sure it was a League Cup final I went to one year. I can't remember where it was now. And there was literally about 350 people there, 400 maybe, for a final, a League Cup final. It was like mad. And now look at it, we're selling out Wembley and stuff. It's incredible. And let's hope it continues. And hopefully we'll get more people like our friend Jared before, who's now going to have a look and give it a go. That's what we want to see, don't we? More and more people give it a go. That's all we ask. And if you don't like it, fair enough. No one can make you like stuff you don't like. Give it a go. That's all we're saying, and I'm sure you will enjoy it.
Absolutely.
Just like our show. Our show's fantastic as well, but it's finished now, and we can go off and enjoy the weekend.
Yeah.
A weekend filled with football and fun and sun and all the other stuff. That's great. So that'll be good. I would say next week we'll be doing the international game. The Lionesses, of course, against Germany. So we'll have the game here as always. And I say we've got both games at the weekend for you as well. So it's going to be good, isn't it? Premier League's back. Come on. We all love the Premier League, don't we? It's back tomorrow. So that's going to be good. We'll enjoy a bit of that, won't we? I enjoy Match of the Day on a Saturday night, actually. But I do enjoy that, I must admit. Greg says, spread the word, spread the love. Exactly. Yeah, that's what we're trying to do, my friend. That is exactly what we're trying to do. So I'll see you tomorrow, 5:15, for Arsenal versus Bournemouth from the Premier League. And, of course, Sunday, 2:45. The Arsenal women at West Ham. We are going to do it. Renee is the one for the time. And Jonas is not the one anymore because he's gone. But thank you for the memory, Jonas. We enjoyed quite a lot of what you did. You gave us some great memories, some great cup final victories, and loads of other stuff. So good luck in the future, Jonas. But Renee, you're the one for the time being. We are going to enjoy what you do. We'll see you tomorrow. And of course, we'll see you Sunday. Thanks to Andreas. Thanks to Amar. Thanks to everyone in the chat. All your comments, every one of you. Thank you for watching. Don't forget, like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you soon. Come on, you Gunners. Let's have a good weekend, eh? Let's do it. 2 wins will do nice.
On the Arsenal.
See you later, guys.
See you later.